Has Beta Ray Bill basically been confirmed for the future? No. But there is a good synergy out there that might tell you otherwise. So we're going to be talking about this synergy here and talking about, in theory, crafting some champions that are likely to fit this. And I am a little bit concerned. Not with Triple Edge, but this one here. Villain's weakness. I, as a lot of other people, probably looked at this and gone, do you know what? Oh yeah, Mjolnir. This is like got like the name of Beta Ray Bill just sealed on it. Because you got like, look, what characters have there been wielding Mjolnir? Thor, of course. Thor Jane Foster. Beta Ray Bill. Sort of, but not. Because, as a lot of people know, Beta Ray Bill picked up Stormbreaker. And as well, would Kabam give Beta Ray Bill out to the community yet? And that's going to be a question. And there's actually a lot more other options that could fit this build rather than Beta Ray Bill. And it could be a bit of a concern. It's likely a concern because a lot of the time, as you know, with Kabam, it's like there will be champions that come out of the woodwork that you're just like, what? I mean, Vox is a good example. Darkhawk, another example. So many different examples of champions which you didn't really expect. Overseer, did you expect that? Did you expect to see Purgatory? You know, there's Kabam only creations. But it's very weird at times because Kabam go completely left field. Left field is a term that's kind of used for, you know, you didn't expect it. It's kind of out of the realms of believable. It's kooky, it's weird, it's out there. And for this video, I researched this really cool 15 characters in Marvel Universe that use enchanted hammers. And it did get me thinking, like, this is not exclusively saying that there's Beta Ray Bill, because you can go completely left field, unusual field with stuff. Like, imagine for whatever, like, we just don't know what the trophy champion is going to be coming in MCOC soon. Like, Kabam have the tech, and they used it. You've seen it. Where Ant-Man was put into a small kind of character and moved across. Rocket's in game. What about Throg? You're probably laughing. I don't think it's too ridiculous. I think in the future, we'll see Throg, and we'll come back to this. You'll come back to this video and go, oh God, yeah. There's a good chance that Kabam can go down this route. Now, I'm not saying, you know, that's like highly likely. Look, here's the thing. If Kabam are kind of smart, they're going to start like really challenging what they can do with the tech, what they can do in general, and just whether or not there's kind of like a way to do it. I'm always up for a way to do it. We still haven't seen Mystique. I'd love to see it at some stage in the MCOC years. But we've got to be realistic. So there's a lot of Marvel-based characters that do wield like hammers. There's always a fine line with like, oh, you know, this character did, this didn't, but sort of did, but didn't. And like Bor, for example. So that's Thor's grandfather, Odin's father. He did wield at some stage a hammer, although it's sometimes like, it's difficult to kind of like find the correct information, because sometimes you're like, well, most of the time he wields axes. And some of the other people wield axes. I mean, Thor wielded an axe. Not Stormbreaker, that's not correct. Yamborn is what Thor wielded. And that's obviously the reason that I'm so, not passionate about, but I do get kind of like annoyed that we have such a big kind of like push to have a Stormbreaker. The Stormbreaker from the MCU Infinity War version of Thor in game. And obviously for me, I'm like, look, the character was amazing. It was the stronger like version of the character. It's just, if you're gonna put in Beta Ray Bill and having that Stormbreaker hammer, best to do it that way. Or put Unworthy Thor in with the one destroyer arm and have Yamborn. That's always kind of like what I'd love to see with game, but I just don't think that's going to be the case in the future. So, we do have a bit of an issue. Now, I don't think Kabam are putting in any kind of Russian-based characters. This character is called Perrin. Of course, with things going on in a very real-world sense at the moment, I don't think this is going to be a character that comes in. So, Perrin is a god of Russia, and as well will wield at some stage a warhammer. And now, this is a character which I kind of thought would put on the list, but because of the current situation going on at the moment, I just don't see this particular character coming in as an option. We'll probably leave it there. So the biggest problem we've got at the moment is a lot of hammer wielding based characters are very much Asgardian universe, albeit like a few that we just kind of like, well, no, actually just one, I think, that we kind of discussed from this, maybe two with it. So what about Odin's brother, Thor's uncle, Kull? See, Kull does have at some stage a hammer, or kind of like a equal to power of Mjolnir type hammer from time to time. But I've got this feeling it's either going to be one of the aforementioned different characters that wield hammer. But I've got this really sneaky suspicion Kabam are going to go in a different direction with it. I think they are going to go down the route of the Worthy. What is the Worthy, I hear you ask? Well, imagine Marvel's mightiest characters complete with powerful, enchanted hammers. Yes, the Worthy. I got this sneaking suspicion Kabam are going to go down this route. Kind of. Like, it gives an opportunity for Kabam to expand out into a new kind of area. So if you imagine like Hulk with an enchanted hammer. Some other characters, Juggernaut as well, with these very, very powerful hammers. But yeah, look, I want Beta Ray Bill in the game. I've always wanted that character. I just got this feeling that Kabam are going to like just prolong this. So like kind of like key characters are kind of, it takes a few years just to kind of get them into game. Look, I would say that Kull would be in game as an option at some stage, and as Guardian universe is expanded out a bit more. There's actually, by the way, on screen there, the kind of Hammery type, scythe type, Warhammerish type thing right there with Kull. Give you an idea of, and by the way, Kull is the leader of the Worthy, which, makes perfect sense. This is the Hammer of Null, I think. Yes, it's the Hammer of Null. And this is wielded by Hulk. So a lot of these key characters have these particular hammers and obviously are able to do quite a bit of damage, more than their, normal state is. For those interested, Absorbing Man, Thing, Hulk, as we said, Grey Gargoyle, Titania had became a breaker of men, and they each had their own type of things. Atuma and Juggernaut. It's really weird, isn't it, where everything just comes together like this. So odd. From reading up about this, it's really cool because you kind of find out all these kind of like Asgardian spirits, the things that kind of imbue these hammers. And when these particular characters, which Juggernaut picks up the hammer of Kurth, become imbued with the powers of this. So it's really interesting. The comic book arc looks like it was back in 2011, so it's some kind of like years old. But I tell you what, sometimes when you find out stuff about these particular story arcs and stuff, this one's actually interesting. A lot of times when I kind of research stuff for like MCOC videos, when I'm doing like a little bit of comic book history or coverage and stuff, and I look back at some of these stories, some of them are just a bit kind of like meh. But I don't know what, like this was actually really interesting to note that this is something that falls into Asgardian. It's got this kind of like these spirit imbuing kind of weaponry. It's kind of like, to me, on kind of similarities with the likes of Apocalypse and making Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Drawing a lot of conclusions from those particular things, I just found it very interesting. I really welcome everybody to kind of look back on that. I probably will have to buy the graphic novel or comic books associated with this particular storyline and kind of read it fully, rather than just kind of like dipping in a few kind of like bits of understanding of the story. But to get back to the point of the matter, and yes, who do we think is going to be the villain's weakness? It's still very much likely it's going to be Beta Ray Bill, but I'm going to like throw this out to like a left field in that, saying that I'm not sure about the Worthy storyline and whether or not there could be a character within it, whether or not there's a character within it that could be one of the various ones, and the Worthy would be expanded out. But I don't know, thoughts in the comment section. Who do you think could be a hammer-wielding character that could fit into this one? Or villain's weakness that kind of falls into this? Or maybe I've got it completely wrong and it's actually somebody else. Thoughts in the comment section about that one. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye for now.